Wisconsin formed, I had just gotten into the arts management field, if you will, and I was getting to hang out with some really cool people, George Sugros, Jim O'Connell, Jalen Dinsmore, and Katz, a whole bunch of folks. And we were just starting to think about what arts could do for a community, and how if we took this to the grassroots level, if we talked to people about how arts impacted them at the local level, we could have that bubble up into a national level conversation. And George Sugros often had this example where it used to be that they would create arts policy from the top down. You know, the national organizations would say what should happen, and then it basically trickled down. But what we were doing when Arts Wisconsin started was we were starting to say, actually, when you let art trickle up, when you find out how it's working at the local level and how it impacts people's lives, you can make changes all the way up to the top. And it was exciting because we were starting to think about what art could do, what it meant to the economy, what it meant to schools, what it meant to politics, what it meant to community involvement, and talking to artists about the work that they did and the things that they could do on a continuous basis. It was just fun. It was exciting, and we got to talk to some of the national experts in these areas. They brought people in to talk about community involvement and community engagement, and working with diverse populations on what mattered to them in the creative industries or the arts worlds, if you will. And it was exciting because I learned so much from all these people, because I had just got my master's degree and I was running a local arts council, and to get to talk to these people who knew so much, I learned so much from having these conversations with people, and not only did they become strong colleagues, but they became good friends that I'm still friends with to this day, that I love hanging out with when I get a chance. Wow. You know, I've worked with the Department of Natural Resources on drinking water issues. I've worked with the Historical Society on Archaeology Week, and I've worked on the Sesquicentennial for the Folklife Festival. Did some research in arts and education in Milwaukee many years ago. Did consulting, community assessments, strategic planning for arts organizations, that kind of a thing. You know, it's when people ask me what I've done, I think, wow, that sounds like, I don't know, sort of eclectic to say the least. But what I bring it down to is that what I've been able to do is connect people around an idea, and believe it or not, all these things come together when we talk about bringing people together to accomplish a goal or a task. That's what I've been doing in any one of these jobs. Is I've been, you know, either planning an event, or I've been coordinating information, or I've been sharing things, or getting people excited or committed, or whatever it is. So it all has to do with getting people connected. Since 2000, I have been teaching, actually. Been teaching arts management at the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater, and loved that. I say this a lot, but the opportunity to work with students when they're figuring out what's possible is like the best thing ever. It's inspiring, it's humbling, it's fun. It's just, that's what I've loved about teaching. I mean, I never thought of myself as a teacher. If you'd asked me what I was going to do when I grew up, it was so not going to be a teacher. But the opportunity to do it has been amazing. And so, so as a part of all of that, I was able to start doing research in the areas of like arts entrepreneurship. And when I think of arts entrepreneurship, I think of helping artists be self-determining. That's what I get passionate about, is if an artist becomes phenomenal at their craft, I want to teach them the skill set they need to be able to do that craft. They shouldn't, if they don't want to go have a second job, they shouldn't have to. I want to help them figure out how to do that. And so I've moved into that realm where we talk about entrepreneurship and you know, how you figure out what you need to make in order to live your life as an artist, and how that fits into all the rest of the things I've talked about, community and diversification and business and accounting and legal issues and contracting and all the rest of that. And then as I keep moving forward, what I'm working on now is more the idea of creativity in business. And so I'm still working on entrepreneurship and working with people. It's kind of fun from all around the country, actually. Universities that offer arts entrepreneurship as a course or as a program, and talking about how do we teach these skills to artists, and how do we teach creativity to business people. I mean, again, the two work together. So I've been able to do that, and that's pretty darn cool. So arts entrepreneurship and then creativity in business is kind of where I'm settling for the moment. and again, it's all about bringing pieces together, getting people excited about something they never knew they might be excited about, and creating a energy that is just fun to be around. I think artists and creatives and the managers of that entire industry have become to a much clearer understanding of how to have conversations with people who don't speak the arts language. I really do. I mean, and it isn't, there's not an expectation all the time anymore that you have to talk like we talk. That we, I think of an arts manager as a translator. Okay, that's the way I think of this. Is that we understand what the arts bring to the table, and we are able to have a conversation with people who maybe want to know that, but who don't know how to have that conversation, how to talk about it. And so what I've been seeing is that arts managers and artists are becoming better at having that conversation with people who don't see themselves as creative. You know, that don't see themselves as someone. When we were talking about defining yourself as a creative, the artists and creatives are doing a better job at saying, actually, yeah, you do belong, and there is this synergy, this connection, and I think that ultimately that's going to help us get to what my dream is, which is that we all understand that when we work together, I know it sounds so dorky, but when we work together, we can do amazing things. When you bring all these different minds to the table, we can do amazing things. You know, and I don't want to take away from the idea of creativity and the fact that some people work just forever to get phenomenal at their craft. I'm not trying to take away from that. I think that when we add to the mix, add to the recipe, we'll ultimately end up with a better product, because the different brains are just going to make it a better thing. And that's where I think ultimately we're going to be glad we go in the long run. I dream that everybody understands the value that arts bring to the table. The idea of creativity, the idea of artistic expression, the idea of dialogue that arts creates, the idea of being able to have a conversation with somebody that you disagree with in a respectful way, that they can share their thoughts, but it isn't just about them throwing their thoughts at you, it's about them wanting your feedback too. I want to use the arts to make those things happen. I want to use the arts to improve business, so that one of the things I get to do now is I get to talk about creativity in business and its value, and the idea that when business takes a creative look at how to solve problems, it can do amazing things. And so I have this dream, this vision, this hope that creativity in the arts can get just sort of into every pore of who we are. I had a colleague once. She's a assistant or associate dean in a university across the country, and she talks about when people put up a wall, you turn into water, and you go around. And that's the way I vision the arts. Is that you know, it's not about making people be artists, but it's about having people go, okay, maybe I'm not even someone who loves opera or who really understands modern art, but I understand what art brings to the table. I understand that it makes my community better. It gives my kids a chance to maybe express themselves in a way that they couldn't otherwise. It gives people a chance to have dialogues that I value. And yeah, I would really like that for us through the entire state of Wisconsin.